Hi, my name is Jennifer and this is my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for joining me for this Yin Yoga practice for cyclists, or really suitable for anyone who feels like they need a stretch for their legs and their hips. For this practice, you'll want to have a bolster and a couple of blocks and a seat cushion, or anything from around your home that you could make into those items. So grabbing some couch cushions, bed pillows, towels, blankets, and books to have nearby. And you can use all those goodies as props if you don't have the ones that you see here with me. And once you've gathered those goodies, we'll start seated together today. I'm going to sit up on a little seat cushion, so you could sit up on some height if you wish. Of course, you don't have to sit cross-legged. Feel free to kneel or have your legs extended, or even start lying down on your back if that's better for you today. Take a moment to roll your shoulders out a couple of times. And take some deeper breaths here. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out your mouth. Again, inhale, draw the shoulders up. Exhale, draw them back and down. One more, a nice big breath in. And big breath out. Allow your eyes to close or lower your gaze. Feel the weight of your legs here settling. The weight of your pelvis settling. Feel your sitting bones rooted equally. And as you root down through your sitting bones, maybe you can sit up just a little bit taller. You might imagine your sternum, the front of your heart, lifting towards the sky like the face of a kite. This helps to broaden your chest, your collarbones. Allow your shoulders to rest down away from your ears. Chin is level. Mouth, jaw, teeth, tongue, relaxed. You may wish to place your palms face down and connect your thumb and pointer finger. And without doing anything special to your breath, just start by noticing the breath in your body. Notice where you feel the breath most distinctly. Whether that's in your abdomen or through your nostrils. Thoughts are fairly inevitable. If you notice that you've become distracted, the thinking mind has carried you away into story about the future or the past. Just very gently, without any judgment, draw your attention back to your breath. Notice the quality of your breath, whether it's deep or shallow, smooth, or a little bit ragged. Just take a scan of your body and see if there's any areas where you might be holding tension or effort that you can soften. Palms and fingertips are quiet. Forehead is smooth. Welcome to bring your hands together in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra. And perhaps offer a bow here. And take a moment just to inquire if you might have an intention for your practice. Is there something that you wish to cultivate for yourself or your community or the world? And if so, you could repeat that intention 3 times to yourself. And start to rub your palms together. And bring your warm hands to cup your eyes. And maybe notice some tingling or heat in the palms. Take a deep breath in. And let it go. Open your eyes into your hands. Release your hands, coming back into the space. Again, welcome in. Take a moment to just move any props off to the side. Lean back in your hands. Bring your feet forward, wider than your hips, and let your knees rock side to side a few times. We'll find butterfly pose. Soles of your feet together, knees wide apart. This is quite a spacious butterfly, so heels are a good distance from the groins. Again, you might wish to sit up on something, especially if you're feeling quite tight through your hips or your low back. I'm going to sit up on just a little wedge of support. You could use a little cushion or a folded up blanket or towel. We'll take this into some flexion for your spine. So some rounding for your spine. And that might be just sort of hanging out here. You might be coming quite far forward. You may find that you need some prop between your body and your legs. If you have a bolster or cushion, you could use that on an angle, so between your feet or your sticky mat and your forehead perhaps. Or you might bring that cushion, or maybe even a stack of cushions, to rest just underneath your abdomen as you rest forward. You may find you need something like this, some support for under the forehead, as well as a bolster cushion or pillow. And what you're feeling for here as you come into this forward fold is some moderate sensations. So you want to be feeling something, maybe some stretching or a little bit of dull aching or resistance, a little bit of tension. You want to feel something, but not too much of that something and not too little. So it's the Goldilocks position. It's just right. About a 5 out of 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. Feeling for about a 5. And once you've found that, just allowing your body to come into stillness. And we hold these shapes for time. In this pose, with your legs in this shape, if you're feeling any discomfort along your inner or outer knee lines or the knees, you could take some props and bring them just outside the legs, outside the knees or thighs. And if you don't have blocks, books work well, or a rolled towel. It can be helpful as you come into a new shape to take a few deeper breaths, maybe allowing the exhale to come out your mouth. Just an invitation for your body to soften here. As you arrive in stillness, draw your attention towards your breath once again. Follow the pathway of your inhale and follow the pathway of your exhale. And if you catch yourself lost in thought, it's okay. Simply take the opportunity to draw your attention back to your breath and know that you can start fresh in any moment. You may have to practice this returning to your breath again and again, so many times throughout your yoga practice, and that's okay. That's the practice. You keep coming back to this moment and this moment and this moment, to the life that's happening right here, right now. Sometimes after holding these shapes for a couple of minutes, you might find that there's a little bit more room to explore. So you may adjust your props to fold a little bit deeper. You may find you want to remove a prop completely. But you're still staying within that moderate level of sensation. So not moving into anything aggressive here or painful. And sometimes you may find that after a little bit of time in a pose, what felt moderate starts to feel like too much, in which case you could back off. But otherwise, just stay as you are, keep breathing here. Last 3 breaths, and letting the exhale come out your mouth. Last 2. Last 1. It's very important to move out of these shapes slowly. So really take your time, slower than you think you can or might want to. Start to press yourself all the way up, eventually lifting your heart, your head, and then just help your legs back together. Bring your hands to your outer knees, draw the knees back towards each other. If you're sitting on a prop or there's props in the way, just pop that off to the side. We'll take those windshield wiper motions again, stepping feet wide, leaning back in your hands, let your knees rock side to side a few times. Moans and groans are totally normal and welcome. Maybe taking a big exhale. We'll stay seated. Finding straddle pose now, so wide-legged position. And perhaps sitting up on a little bit of support here. And then if you're sitting on support, sit towards the edge of it. It's almost like you're gonna fall forward, fall off the support, and this helps to tilt your pelvis slightly forward and just gives you a little bit more room through your back, your hips, and your legs. And again, we'll be finding some flexion for the spine here. So some rounding for your spine, and you might just sort of be hanging out here. And you might come forward to rest on a stack of props. Maybe adjusting the height for that seems moderate sensation is what you're looking for here. And again, check in with your knees. So in our yin practice, rather than engaging the legs, rather than really engaging through the big muscle groups, we're just relaxing the legs, relaxing the quads and the hamstrings, the calves, etc., so that we can actually start to move the energy of the stretch into the connective tissue. So keeping the legs really relaxed, sometimes that can create discomfort in the knees. So if you're feeling discomfort through inner outer knee lines, right behind the knees, then take some support under the knees. Keep the knees bent, okay, but still have the legs relaxed and find your fold from there. You may not have to fold very far to start to feel quite a bit. It doesn't matter what the shape looks like or how far forward you're folding or how wide apart your legs are. If you're feeling it, you're doing it. And you might be feeling a whole range of sensation, and you could be feeling it in all different parts of your body here. So just remembering to stick with that sort of 5 out of 10. And if you start to feel pain, I'm going to back away from that. And pain can manifest in all sorts of ways. So if you're feeling anything stabbing or electrical, anything that feels fiery, even tingling and numbness can indicate pain. You do want to move away from those sensations. But if what you're feeling was a stretching, a little bit of dull aching, resistance, tension, well, these sensations might be uncomfortable. No, they might not be pleasant, but they're not painful. And our yin practice gives us this opportunity to start discerning between discomfort and pain. And we can sit with discomfort, and it's okay to sit with discomfort or unpleasantness for some time and just watch it. Offer whatever you're feeling, your attention, your curiosity, and your breath. I've been here for a bit now, so you could check in. Maybe there's room to move a little bit deeper. Maybe that 5 out of 10 has faded a little bit. You could fold a little further forward, or widen the legs a little, or remove a prop. Softening what you can, your neck, your jaw, hands, shoulders, belly. And take your final 3 breaths here. Last 2. Last 1. Moving very, very slowly, begin to press yourself up. Nice and gentle. Pause at the top for a moment. Move any props off to the side. Help your knees to bend, step your feet to the mat. And again, take those windshield wiper motions, nice counter pose. The windshield wipers, the most ancient of all the yoga poses. And one last seated pose here. We'll take a seated two-legged forward fold. So legs now extended. Again, that same principle here of letting the big muscle groups relax. You could either pull the flesh straight out behind you from your buttocks out behind you, or again, sit up on a form of support. If you sort of find that you can't sit up with your shoulders and your ribs and hips in line, and it's sort of more like this, then that's a good indication to sit up on some support. And one more time here, some flexion for your spine. So forward fold. And checking in with your knees. So same thing, if there's discomfort that feels like pain, so pulling, sharpness, fieriness behind the knees or around the knees, then definitely keep the knees bent. And you could slide a rolled towel or blanket or block underneath your knees, keep them bent. And coming into your version of a forward fold here. Maybe using some props to support your upper body as you fold forward. Different ways of incorporating props. If you've got cushions, you could stack them up and lean over them. You can take the first sort of 20-30 seconds just to find that first edge of sensation, that moderate 5 out of 10, and eventually settle into stillness and find your breath. Notice the sensations in your body. And all of the quiet space that our yin practice offers in these long holds are space within which we can practice our mindfulness tools. So breath is number one. You could simply use this practice time to follow your breath. Follow the path of your inhale, follow the path of your exhale. You could choose to refocus your awareness on the sensations in your body, watching how they don't stay the same forever. They change, they morph, they evolve. You could also work with sound as your sort of home base of awareness. Simply noticing the sounds in your environment. Sounds nearby, sounds in the distance. And rather than getting caught up in a story about each sound, simply allow your attention to move from sound to sound to sound. And checking in with that first edge of sensation to see if it's shifted for you. Maybe there's room to fold a little bit deeper, or maybe you're being asked to back off. And final 3 breaths here, big breaths. Last 2. Last 1. Bring your hands to your mat very, very slowly, slower than you think you can. Start to round all the way up. Eventually lifting your heart and your head. Lean back in your hands here. Draw your shoulders back, lift your heart. A little counter extension for your spine after all those forward folds. And then one more time, those lovely windshield wiper motions. Let your knees fall side to side. Make your way to your hands and your knees. You may wish to have your props sort of forward on your mat in case you should need them. From hands and knees, step your right foot forward. So finding a lunge position. Walk your back knee back a little bit. You may wish to pad up the back knee. So if there's any tenderness there, you could bring some support under your back knee. Back toes can be tucked or untucked, totally up to you and your comfort. Walk your right foot out wide. Bring your right arm inside. And here's where you might like to have some support under your hands. If the floor feels a bit too far away, you could have your hands on stacks of books or blocks if you have them. And finding that first edge of sensation here in our first lizard pose variation. We'll take a few different variations here in this lunge position for our hips and eventually for the hamstring muscles. Not too concerned here with what's going on in the upper body in terms of alignment. So you could let your head hang forward if that feels interesting. You could keep your head lifted, opening through the front of the throat perhaps. And really working with your breath here, breathing into what you feel. And anchor your attention. Whether you're working with attention of breath, sensation in your body, or sound, or something else if you have your own practice. And you could stay right here, great place to be, or if you like, you could start to lower down. So maybe bringing forearms down onto the blocks or right down onto your mat if that's available in your body. It's not in mine. And from here, you could start to peel the sole of that front foot off the mat. So you come to stand on the outer edge of the foot, and then that knee is coming out to the side. So just adding a variation here through the hips. And noticing what comes up as we move towards intensity, discomfort. Just notice your breath, if you're forgetting to breathe, if it's tightening up. Notice if other areas of your body are tightening up, so maybe some tension through your shoulders or your neck or your jaw or your hands. Just softening what you can here. Sometimes our thoughts get a little sharp. Our emotions can get a little fired. Just notice what's coming up without any judgment. Just offering some space for whatever's here. And really slowly, please start to walk your hands back up onto the mat. Bring the sole of that right foot back down and the right knee back in if it's still winged out. Walk your right foot back towards the middle of your mat, arms either side. And start to shift your weight back now. We'll start to move into the back of that front leg. And as you shift your hips back, you might start to slide your right heel a little further forward. And for me, it's really helpful to bring some support under my hands here. So blocks or books. And draw the right toes up towards the sky. Feel free to keep quite a bend through that front knee. Your leg doesn't have to be straight. Draw your outer right hip back and reach your heart forward out over your right toes. And of course, if you have more room here to explore, you could bring your hands further down and maybe fold more towards that front leg. Okay, but staying in that moderate range of sensation, about a 5 out of 10. And if you're encountering some intensity, as I am, it might help to take a few exhales out your mouth just to release any excess heat or tension. If you find you have even more room to explore, you might start to approach more of a splits pose as opposed to this half splits pose. Again, that would be much more than moderate for my body, but if you were wanting to explore that, you would just start to walk the right heel forward, the left knee back, and so on until you come towards a splits position. You're not forcing anything. Just allow your body time and patience that it may require to start to open some of those tight, sticky spots. Take 3 more nice big breaths here. Last 2. Last 1. Good. Wherever you're at, that, starting to work your way back towards the lunge position. And then back to hands and knees. So it might feel nice to sway your hips a little bit here. Maybe circle the hips. And we'll land in child's pose eventually, just taking a little rest in child's pose before we take that whole sequence on the second side. Any variation of child's pose that you love, assuming that you love child's pose. And if you don't, please find something else that works for your body just to find rest. Stretch your arms forward, bring yourself up to hands and knees. Step your opposite foot forward. For me, that's my left. Pad up the back knee if you wish. Walk your left foot out towards the left side of your mat. Bring your left hand inside. And then see if you need a little bit of height under your hands here, or if you want to come down onto your forearms right away. If your wrists start to feel tender, you could come up onto fists, just to give your wrists a little bit of a break. Things can be different from side to side. I'm just working with whatever is here for you on this side. Maybe after a little bit of time, there's a bit more room to explore. You might lower down onto props or right down onto your mat. I find I really have to check in with my jaw, my neck, my shoulders again and again. My hands, just releasing tension from these areas. If you wanted, you could explore that little sort of winged version of your lizard pose by drawing the sole of the left foot away from the mat, coming to stand on the outer left foot and allowing that left knee to move out towards the side. Last 3 breaths here. Last 2. Last 1. Slowly, slowly, slowly start to help yourself back up towards a lunge position. Walk left foot back between your hands. And begin to move towards an opening for the back of the left leg here. So shifting hips back, maybe sliding that left foot a little further forward so you can come to stand on the heel. Perhaps finding some height for under your hands, just depends on where you're at. Remembering you can give your wrists a break at any time by coming to stand on fists. If you feel that you have an invitation here to explore a deeper variation, a splits pose, you could start to move towards that. Again, for this, you'll just start to slide the back knee back, and the front heel forward, and sticking with that number 5 out of 10, so not moving into anything that feels like a strain or pain. Offering patience, offering kindness, offering compassion to your body and all those sticky parts. Let's take 3 more breaths here, please. Last 2. Last 1, letting go. And easing your way out. Nice, slow, gentle transition here. Again, to find hands and knees eventually. A little bit of movement to reset, to release. And from here, you'll come to lie down on your back body. Just popping props out of the way. You're finding some stillness here. If your low back feels sensitive, keep your feet planted, knees bent. You can let your knees knock in towards each other, finding constructive rest here. Or you may wish to extend your legs all the way out. Arms and hands rest wherever they feel supported. And we'll just pause here, allowing a minute or so for some integration, some processing of our practice so far. Notice how you've landed here. Heels are heavy. The back of your pelvis is heavy. Mid back and upper back are rooting down. The backs of your shoulders, arms, and hands are heavy. The back of your skull is heavy. And take a deep breath in. And let it go. Step your feet to the mat if they're not there already. Cross your right ankle just above your left knee, please, for number 4 shape for this hip opener. So you can either take a prop and pop it underneath the bottom foot so that your arms can rest. And that might be enough of an opener for your hip today. Or you could reach down and interlace your hands around the back of your left thigh, or perhaps across the shin to draw your legs in closer towards you. See that your shoulders, your neck, and your head can rest on your mat or on the floor as you do this. Might feel nice to circle out your left ankle a few times here. Both directions. And we'll take this into a twist. Bring your arms out into a T-shaped position. If your left foot, the bottom foot is on a prop, just move the prop out of the way. Bring the sole of the left foot to the mat. Keep the ankle cross here at the knee. Press into your bottom foot, your left foot, lift your hips and pop them over to the right a little bit. Then allow your legs to come all the way down to the left, just as they are in this orientation, until the sole of your right foot comes to rest on your mat and your left leg can relax. So you may need to adjust that bottom leg a little bit, but the foot and the leg are just relaxed there. The sole of the right foot on the mat, right knee pointing up towards the sky. Let your head relax wherever it feels supported here. So whether you're turning your head away from your legs or just looking up towards the sky. And maybe offer a releasing breath or two here as you arrive. If this twist variation doesn't serve you today, you can always come into just an easy 2-knee twist here. You could uncross the legs and bring knees and ankles to stack. Otherwise, in this particular variation, we're offering some stretch, some opening to the tissues running along the outer right leg line up into the hip and the glute. Areas that can get really sticky for cyclists, really all of us. If you're sitting a lot or if you're a runner, this area, the IT band, this fascia that runs along the outer upper leg can get really tight. Take 3 more breaths here. Last 2. Last 1. Come on, back through center. Take your time. Bringing your body back through midline. And take some of those windshield wiper motions here. And finding the hip stretch first. On the second side, left ankle crosses above right knee. Again, your choice. You could prop up the bottom foot. Or you could incorporate your upper body here, reaching to interlace hands behind the right thigh or across the right shin. Maybe circling out the bottom ankle if you did that on the first side. We'll move into the twist. Pop that right foot back down towards your mat. Press into the right foot, lift your hips. Pop them over to the left, just a little, and then let your legs come down in this orientation all the way towards the right until sole of the left foot comes down onto your mat or the floor. And left knee points up towards the sky. You can open your arms out at shoulder height, palms face up, or cactus arms if you don't quite have room, or if you just prefer the cactus arm variation. Just notice where your attention is. If you've drifted away, thinking about the past or planning for the future, just come back to your anchor, your breath, or sensation in your body, or soundscape. Last 3 breaths here. Slowly come on back through midline. Take your time. Take some windshield wiper motions to release. From here, please roll over onto one side. I'll roll onto my right. You can use your right arm as a pillow, or if you have some form of support, you could use that. Bend your knees slightly here, and then the top leg, draw that heel in towards your bum and reach for it with your top hand. So we're finding a calf stretch here. a thigh stretch here, your quadriceps muscles at the front of the thigh. And slowly let that leg go. And then turn over onto the other side. Find the thigh stretch, second side. So reaching for the top of the foot or the ankle with your top hand. See if you can keep your knee in line with your hip. So rather than letting it splay up or down, see if you can keep the knee right in line with the hips, so the thighs about parallel with the floor, with your mat. You can slightly sort of tuck your tailbone under here and really kick your foot into your hand and draw your hand in towards your foot. And slowly release. Come onto your back once again. Draw your knees in for a hug. And take a little rock side to side. Find Shavasana from here, your final rest. Feel free to incorporate props if you like, some support behind your knees or a little bit of support or under your head, and maybe some warmth for your body. And maybe an eye pillow or scarf over your eyes if your room is quite bright. Empty your lungs of breath. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out your mouth. Again, inhale. Fill all the way up. Fill your belly, your ribs, all the way to your collarbones. And let it go. One more time. Deepest breath yet.
Take a little pause at the top of the breath. Sip in just a little more air. And let it go. Ever so gradually start to deepen your breath. It may feel nice to roll your head slowly side to side. Invite some life into your fingers and your toes, your wrists and your ankles. Eventually, nice big full body stretch and a yawn. And take your time, keep your eyes really soft. Transition all the way up to seated. Close our practice seated together. Let's take a moment to notice how you feel. Notice any shifts from when we began practice. Maybe there's a little bit more space in your body. Maybe there's a little more space between your thoughts. And a little more space in your heart for compassion and kindness, patience. Bring your hands together in Anjali Mudra at heart center. Offer a bow here, this gesture of gratitude and acknowledgement as we offer gratitude to this practice, to the opportunity to practice, to the land on which we practice, and anything else you're feeling grateful for and connected to in this moment. And as always, may we take the benefits that we receive from this practice out into the world. May they radiate out to the benefit of all beings. And start to rub your palms together. And bring that warmth towards your eyes, cup your eyes. Take a deep breath in and out. Blink your eyes open into your hands. Release your hands. Thanks so much for joining me for practice. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See you next time.